Although Doctor Who Series 11 has been a bit controversial, to say the least, one aspect of the series that has received almost universal praise is Sagan Akinola's brilliant soundtrack. Previous composer Murray Gold had been with the show for 12 years, scoring over 100 episodes, and brilliant though he is, many fans felt it was time for a new composer to have a go at scoring the show, myself included. So when it was announced that Sagan was taking over, I was very excited to see what he'd come up with. And his scores for Series 11 have been nothing short of brilliant, just so incredibly varied, helping to give each episode its own distinct style. And thanks to Silver Screen, the Series 11 soundtrack is now available to listen to all over again. It must be one of the quickest turnarounds we've had for a series soundtrack to be released. It's coming just a few weeks after the series ended, and it does make you wonder why it's taking them so long to release the Series 10 soundtrack, given that series aired almost 2 years ago now. Made up of 41 tracks, the soundtrack contains music from all 10 episodes of the series, plus the New Year's Day special, Resolution. But which tracks are the best of all? Which are my personal favourites? Well, here are 5 of my top picks. Number 5. You Really Need to Get Out of Those Clothes, from The Woman Who Fell to Earth. Now this track is taken from the end of the episode, when the Doctor is picking her new outfit with Graham and Ryan and Yaz's help, and then she's preparing to say goodbye to her new friends in the warehouse before she's teleported away. Little does she know that they will also be teleported away with her. And it's one of my favourite variations of the 13th Doctor's theme, which is slowly developing over the course of the opener, slowly seeping in, and I just think this track has the full range. It's vibrant, it's exciting, it's fast-paced, it's hopeful, and it just sounds so fresh. I mean, the 13th Doctor's theme overall, I think, is brilliant, but this one in particular, because it has all of that, but also the slower, calmer moments as well. For instance, when the Doctor thinks she's about to say goodbye to her friends, there are these beautiful piano chords, these kind of long-held, ambient chords just in the background, just underscoring that really intimate character moment. Number 4. Me and My Mates, from Resolution. Now, the New Year's Day special was one of the strongest 13th Doctor episodes so far, in my opinion, and it had a fantastic score to match. This track is one of many quite long, sweet-style tracks on the soundtrack. It's just over 10 minutes long, and I think it might be one of the longest on the whole soundtrack, actually. And it scores the end of the episode, from the epic action sequences with the Recon Dalek, to the Doctor and her friends saving the day, to Ryan saving his dad at the climax of the episode. And as I say, at 10 minutes long, this track is very long, and it just shows the full range, I think, of Sagan's ability. It's one of the last things we hear in the series as a whole and in the episode, and it's truly epic in scale. It sounds absolutely brilliant. It's got a combination of orchestral and electrical sounds, as well as some choir elements as well. It's got that awesome Dalek theme that Sagan made for the Recon Dalek. It's action-packed, it's got fast-paced moments, almost like a ticking clock, you know, counting down to the episode's climax. But it's also got the emotional moments as well. For instance, when Ryan saves his dad at the end, in the TARDIS, those beautiful choir moments in the background, just underscoring that, and the strings as well. And then right at the end, that great rendition of the 13th Doctor's theme, which is just so nice, with a bit of guitar thrown in there, and the orchestra at the end, and the drum beats. I think it really brings her first run of episodes to a satisfying close, and it's a very epic, grand-scale way to end this series. Number 3. Get Out That Door, from Rosa. Now, Rosa is an episode that lots of people loved, and it had a brilliant theme for the character of Rosa Parks to match her kind of heroic quality, I think. And it's a theme that I absolutely love. I really do. It's hopeful, it's strong, it's heroic. It's almost like a call to arms, you know, echoing the kind of civil rights movement, all that kind of stuff. It's got this very strong sound because of the orchestral instruments used and the brass. And this track, which is taken from the start of the episode, is probably one of my favourite variations of Rosa's theme from the episode. There is also one at the end, which is A Living Icon for Freedom, which scores the scene back in the TARDIS with the Doctor and her friends, and that's a very nice variation, but it's not as varied as this one. It's not as interesting, I don't think, though it is very nice, it's very beautiful, very touching. But this one, I think it captures the episode, the spirit of the episode and the spirit of Rosa really well, and it captures her struggle really well. It scores the scene where she's on the bus at the start and she comes into contact with this bus driver for the very first time and he throws her off the bus. And it sounds quite sinister, you know, it's in a minor key, it's got these dissonant strings, these cellos down below, giving it quite a dangerous, sinister quality. But then there's the Rosa theme as well, which is just there, you know, like a beacon of hope and it kind of foreshadows the end of the episode when she does eventually stand up to this bus driver, and she does succeed, and she becomes that hero, becomes that living icon for freedom. So that's why this is one of my favourite variations of Rosa's theme. But overall, I mean, this episode had a brilliant score all round, and as I say, that variation that closed the episode as well, leading into the end credits, was also a really, really great track. Number 2, reverse the polarity from It Takes You Away. Now, It Takes You Away was a pretty strange episode. I think we can all agree on that, whether you loved it or hated it. And there are people that didn't quite get on with this episode. I'm not sure exactly where I stand in relation to it. But one thing I can't deny is that, first of all, the script was full of scope and ambition and great high-concept sci-fi ideas. And then to match that, we had this brilliant score, which is completely unnerving and bizarre and sensational and exciting and fast-paced and full of danger, and it just provides a really fitting soundscape for the parallel world that we go to. It's a very strange, very odd feeling soundscape that you end up with, and this track is taken from the climax of the episode when the Doctor is sort of realising what's going on, and Graham is having to, face going back to the universe, his own universe, and leaving Grace behind. So there's that emotional side to it. The Doctor is there trying to, reason with the solid track universe in the form of Trina, and it's just a brilliant track. It's got some really good fast-paced moments, again like a ticking clock. You can feel danger, you can sense it, but it's also got some really nice, quiet, beautiful piano moments as well in the background, as I say, for the bits with Graham and him having to come to terms with leaving Grace behind all over again. And so it really tugged at the heartstrings in that respect, I think. Overall, it's a very varied track, like some of the other kind of longer tracks on this album, and I really think it fits the tone of the episode. It's completely strange and bizarre, just like the episode itself. And at number 1, I Love You Nanny from Demons of the Punjab. Now, Demons of the Punjab, first of all, a phenomenal episode, one of my favourites of the series. And one of the things I loved about it actually is how it had such a unique soundscape. We've never had the Indian instruments, the kind of the singing and the improvisation around scales and things, and the drones in the background. It just sounds completely different to any other Doctor Who episode, anything we've seen before. And it fits the episode so well. This track is taken from the climax of the episode when Prem is having to face his brother in that heartbreaking confrontation, and when he dies, and then when the Doctor and her friends react to that, right up until the end of the episode, that beautiful, intimate moment between Yaz and her nanny, when, they're just having that conversation at the end. And I just love this track, I really do, words cannot explain it. I just think it's a great experience listening to it. It fits really well into the episode and works really well in the episode. And especially the climax when Prem actually dies, when he's shot, and there's that haunting voice in the background, the vocals, it sounds so heartbreaking, and you really do feel, what's going on. It really has that emotional side to it, I think, and just underscores the events of the episode really well. And special mention must also go to the gorgeous Indian version of the closing theme as well, which is included here as a separate track, but in the episode itself, the two kind of run into each other as a kind of extended sequence towards the end of the episode, providing a continuity, between the final scene and the closing titles, which again, I think, is a really nice touch, having that version of the closing theme that's a bit different to what we're used to, just to fit the tone of the episode and to not detract from what the episode is trying to achieve and the soundscape that's been set up. Overall, I think Demons of the Punjab is probably my favourite episode in terms of the score. Well, probably my favourite episode full stop, but definitely in terms of the score from Series 11. So there we have it, my top 5 tracks from the Doctor Who Series 11 soundtrack. Now this soundtrack is available now from Silver Screen, packaged either in a lavish card digipack, which is what I opted for, or a standard dual CD case if that's what you prefer. As I say, I picked up the digipack version and I really love it. I think it's brilliant, and it fits very nicely with all the other soundtracks that have been released so far. It would just be nice to have Series 10 to put in between 9 and 11. It's priced at a very reasonable £10, so I definitely recommend picking up this soundtrack, especially if you loved the music of Doctor Who Series 11. It's well worth picking up, well worth listening to again, and even if you didn't like the series, I'd still recommend picking it up because I think it's one of the strongest soundtracks to a series of Doctor Who of recent years, really. It really is something else, completely different to what we've had before in many ways. Each episode has its own distinct musical style, but it just feels so fresh and so vibrant and so different and exciting, I think. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please post your thoughts on the music of Doctor Who Series 11 in the comments section, and also your top 5 tracks as well if you've listened to the soundtrack. I hope I've persuaded you to buy it as well if you haven't already. And again, yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon for some more new videos. So, goodbye for now, guys.